Hello everyone, first of all, let me thank you all for seeing my video here today, and let me introduce myself. I'm Vania Luthfi Karima from medical student of Sultan Agung University. As you can see on the screen, I like to present to you about the frustrations for colorblind people. My talk is particularly relevant to those of us who want to know or interest about colorblind information. My presentation will take about 10 minutes, and if you have any question, feel free to interrupt me anytime. So I divided my presentation into 6 main parts. There are the definitions to know what is colorblind mean, then causes to explain how it can be happen in medically. Then the third is types of colorblind. They're divided into some types that we should know, and symptoms and signs. Then the fifth is about danger and limitation. Then the last part is about conclusion. So before we go to the main topic, I want to ask you something. Do you can see this number 21 or 74? Yes, this number is 74. So before I explain more about how colorblind can be a cure, anybody know how do our eyes can see colors? Okay, let me tell you how our eyes can see colors. Maybe you can think your eye as a camera, and in the front part has a lens to focus image on the inside of the back of your eye. This area is called the retina, and it's covered with special nerve cells that contain pigments to react to light. And there are cones and rods. The cones are to control your color vision. There are several kinds of pigments present in three types of cone cells. Some react to short wavelength light, and others react to medium wavelengths, and others react to higher wavelength. Then the rods only have one kind of pigment. It reacts the same way to any light wavelength. Rods doesn't have anything to do with color vision, but they are very sensitive to light and allow us to see at night. So, what is colorblind mean? The colorblind mean your eye doesn't see colors the way it should. If you have color blinds, it means you see colors differently than most people. Most of the time, color blinds make it hard to tell the difference between certain colors. Then the next slides, we talk about how colorblind can happen. Colorblind is usually a genetic or hereditary condition. You are born with it. Red or green-blue colorblindness is usually passed down from your parents. The gene which is responsible for the condition is carried on the X chromosomes, and this is the reasons why many more men are affected than women. But sometimes colorblindness is not because of your genes, but rather because of physical or chemical damage to the eye, damage in the optic nerve, damage to parts of the brain that process color information, and cataract, a clouding of the lens. Colorblind can caused by a genetic factor, a different condition in how one or more the light-sensitive cells found in the retina of the eye respond to certain colors. These cells are called cones, sense wavelengths of light, and enable the retina to distinguish between colors. This difference in sensitivity in one or more cones can make a person colorblind. The exact physical causes of colorblindness are still being researched, but it is believed that colorblindness is usually caused by faulty cones, but sometimes by a fault in the pathway from the cone to the brain. Then after we talk about the cause of colorblind, in this screen we can see the types of colorblind and types of color vision deficiency. Based on this knowledge about our visual system, we easily can put together the list of different forms of colorblindness. All of them have a direct relation to the available photoreceptor in your eye and are accordingly categorized. The first is monochromatism. This is either no cones available or just one type of them. Then dichromatism, only two different cone types. The third one is missing completely. Then anomalous trichromatism, that all three types but with self-peaks of sensitivity for one of them. This results in a smaller color spectrum. Then, based of the missing the latter case of its malfunctioning, the tritanopia is missing or malfunctioning as code or we can call blue. Then deuteranopia, missing or malfunctioning elm cone or green color. Then protanopia is missing or malfunctioning the L cone or red color. For a better understanding, you can also call them blue, green, or red weakness respectively blinds. Unfortunately, these terms didn't really make it their way and are not used very often. So the next slide, we talk about the symptom and signs of colorblind. There are difficulties seeing tones or shades of the same color and inability to distinguish between colors. Then the danger of limitations of colorblind. Colorblind people face many difficulties in everyday life, which normally sight people just are not aware of. Problems can arise in even the simple of activities including choosing and preparing food, gardening, sport, driving a car, and selecting which clothes to wear. So the conclusion of all information that I have presented to you is while a fairly high number of people around the world have some form of color blindness, it must be acknowledged that it is not a significant problem. Indeed, many color blind people appear to go through life without being aware that they are actually colorblind at all. So, unless you have your heart set on being a pilot, astronaut, long distance truck driver, or a designer, your life will not be greatly impacted by color blindness. Well, I have told you about the first stations of colorblind. Thanks so much for your attention. Is there any question? Okay, if there's no question, I think that's all from me. Thank you for your attention.